Since childhood, Tuanku Mizan's enthusiasm for sport has never waned. Today, his passion is for all kinds of equestrian sports, in particular endurance events, where riders and their mounts can compete over courses of more than 100 kilometers.
Well, I started riding when I was about 7. That was the first time that my father put me on the saddle, and then he taught me to play polo. We played polo together for a while until he stopped playing polo, and then I stopped playing polo, and then there's a gap of like 15 or 20 years before I started riding again.
Preparations for the coronation cost the king a place at the Asian Games and the chance of a hero's victory. But back in the saddle, he was preparing for an endurance race in his home state of Terengganu, which he had helped organize himself. For the king, riding has led to enduring friendships too, especially with his horse's devoted vet, Dr. Bala.
His Majesty really loved his horses as much as he loves his children, and he really cares for them. And whenever His Majesty is away on a hectic schedule, time to time His Majesty would bring me up and ask how the horses doing, how are they training, and the care and well-being. It's always of great concern for him always. I can say His Majesty is always down to earth and always kind to the people. All the people of this country respect him and admire him.
That respect and admiration is mutual. Tuanku Mizan takes a keen interest in the talents of his subjects. On the little island of Pulau Diong works one of the most celebrated of Terengganu's craftsmen. His name is Abdullah Muda, and he makes hand-built boats using age-old skills. He remembers well the king visiting his boatyard.
Satu masa itu, saya turun dari rumah. Kalau siapa datang ramai, dia kata Sultan Medan nak datang. Dia memang dia lakak sebab saya baiki satu perahu daripada Belanda masa itu tahun 1997. Papan skipping, tapi saya ada galau sikit lah. Tapi dia naik atas papan tu, papan skipping tu dia boleh naik. Kalau sultan lain dia tak nak naik atas papan skipping itu.
Abdullah knows the world is changing, so he has found new uses for his old skills, making yachts for millionaires and pleasure boats for tourism.
I admire him because I feel that he is a living heritage, I would say, because everything, his knowledge about boat buildings are all kept up here in his mind. He's the traditional part, and the other part is that people still comes to him and ask him to build modern boats. I think it shows how great important it is that tradition and modern can live together.
Tuanku Sultan Mizan embodies the 21st century. He carries the past, right, and he is ready for future. Look at his education background. He is from Geelong Grammar. He spent time at Sandhurst. Got himself a degree from a British university, right? So he has the global exposure, and he comes back ready to lead.
Coronation Day is looming. Terengganu's Court Orchestra and Noble rehearse in the palace grounds. According to tradition, the king cannot be installed without them.
The Nobat is the court music. Whenever the Sultan of the state of Terengganu attends a function, the court music must be there. It is part of the traditional palace protocol.
The players are not just any band boys. I mean, they are people part of the court, and they are entrusted with the responsibility of keeping the tradition alive.
Apabila kita tengok kita main obat, apabila keberangkatan tuanku masuk ke dalam balaru Seri, dengan obat yang kita buku tu, dengan gerak langkah dia tu, semakin bertambah daulat tuanku tu.
It gives me the strength whenever the music is being played, and it gives the audience, the people who are present at that time, a certain kind of feeling that the Sultan is walking into the throne room. It does make a difference, I think.
Tuanku Mizan's philosophy is defined by protecting the past and embracing the future. Terengganu, the king's home state, is changing fast, and the king is happy to encourage innovation. Kuala Terengganu now plays host to the annual Monsoon Cup, the prestigious international sailing event. The king is one of its keenest supporters. But as His Majesty navigates the people of Terengganu into the 21st century, he must now turn his mind to the affairs of the whole of Malaysia. His last act as Sultan was to hand over the affairs of Terengganu to his 8-year-old son, supported by a council of advisors.
It is ceremonial, first of all, to install my son as the regent of the state. It was quite emotional for me. I feel very, very sad about leaving Terengganu, but at the same time I'm also looking forward to perform my duties in Kuala Lumpur.
Tuanku Mizan then bade farewell to his state and his subjects and flew to Kuala Lumpur, where he would soon be proclaimed as king. It's a week to the coronation, and in the royal palace rehearsals are underway. The climax of the coronation ceremony, when the king and queen sit on these thrones, must be full. Palace officials rehearse the crucial moment when they approach the throne, accompanied by the sound of the nobat. Music and action must be in perfect harmony. The Grand Chamberlain will present the king with the royal regalia, including a ritual dagger called a kris. The king and queen are too busy to attend. Stand-ins will have to do. On the day, timing will be everything. The choreography of this vital moment must be immaculate. The man in charge of rehearsals is the Comptroller, Dato' Wan Safian. It is Dato' Wan's first coronation, and he knows he faces a formidable challenge.
Most of us are very eager to face the D-Day, because this is the climax of it.
Malaysia's armed forces will be represented by the elite Royal Armoured Corps, a ceremonial battalion. On coronation day, they will be inspected by the king, a former colonel-in-chief. Every one of the 600 soldiers must play their part to perfection. The army has a huge advantage over palace staff. Soldiers are used to being drilled. At this stage, the comptroller walks with a light step. Outside, the court musicians arrive. Just as well, since according to custom, the traditional instruments of the nobat must be played at the coronation of a king.
This is part of the instrument, solely from Terengganu.